Welcome to another edition of the Artist Block Podcast. I am your host, Watricia Schuler, and today's guest is an award-winning videographer, photographer, creative entrepreneur, all-around hustler, hailing from Dreamville.
You already know, baby. That's what 26 head.
Welcome to the show, TeDrenna Coleman.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I met you originally because you were my student in my class at Winston. And before you were like in the class, I think it was like the first week of school actually when I was telling you about the Block Awards. But I told you that we needed some volunteers basically. He was like, I do photography. I can come out. I'm like, cool. So you came out, you did your thing. You did a really good job. And, you know, I appreciated that. So after that, we developed a relationship. And, you know, you were a good student in general. I was just thinking about when we played Jeopardy.
Oh,
AD had threatened me, but I'm gonna let that go.
Relax, because you were trying to play with my grade. You know
I was just playing.
All right.
Anyway, you were a good student though. You did your work. You knew what you were doing, and you were growing, and you were learning, and you were working on your own. So I thought that was dope. And then I found out that you were like not like a quiet little student like I thought you were. You were like the person on campus, you know what I'm saying? Like the plug, and everybody knew you, and you were everywhere doing everything. And you had your own photography business at the time. So you were actually making money from photography in college, and I thought that was dope. And you shot a wedding for another professor there, and your photography from that was beautiful. So I mean, I've always been inspired by you, but the more I see you do and grow, the more I am inspired by you.
Oh,
Yeah. So talk to us about your journey. How did you become the artist that you are today, the artpreneur that you are today?
Okay, artpreneur.
Yes.
So my journey actually started when I was 8 years old. So when I was a kid, me and my family, we would just go to Best Buy, and I was just kind of, first I started out with the games. So, you know, when you would walk into Best Buy, they would have a section where you could play the games for free or whatever. And then one day I just kind of gravitated towards the cameras. So when I walked over to the cameras, I really was intrigued by like the look, the feel, and I just really loved how digital they are. So I was like, wow, like I really want one of these. But at the time, of course, we couldn't afford one. So when I got to 5th grade is when I got my first Kodak camera. That's one of the cheapest cameras there is right now. So I would just shoot everything. I would shoot flowers. I would shoot family events, just kind of getting the feel of how it is to be a photographer in the 5th grade. So and then I got my first real DSLR when I was in the 10th grade, and that's when I joined the yearbook committee. So while I was on the committee, I just kind of realized that I enjoyed the photography aspect of it more than the designing aspect. So from there, that's when I started kind of planning what I wanted to do in my real career. So when I got to college, my freshman year, I ended up getting my first internship with a university photographer, Garrett Garms. And from there is when everything else just kind of aligned. You know, I started learning how it is to be a real photographer, learning the technicalities of the camera, different shots, angles, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's when sophomore year, I ended up starting my business in Miss Smotherman's class. One of our assignments was to create a business plan. And I had already planned on making a business out of photography, but I didn't know when I wanted to do it or when I would be ready. So I just kind of used the opportunity to build my business. And since then, I've just kind of been hustling, as you say.
Yes. So I had a question because I knew this story, but you said your first camera was a Kodak camera. Was it like the throwaway Kodak camera? You know what I'm talking about? The old cameras back in the day where you could buy the camera and it was a one-time use, and you had to take it to them to develop.
Oh, no. So, girl, it was a little bougie Kodak camera. It was a point and shoot.
It was a digital camera.
Yeah,
okay.
I still have it, but yeah.
My bad.
Girl, don't play me.
I'm not trying to play you. You know, they had film cameras back in my day, and I would get those little digital throwaway cameras.
A film camera, no, it was a Polaroid. The photographer at my church, that was the very first camera I saw, now that I remember it. And I would just, every Christmas, I would ask him to buy me one. Of course, he didn't buy me one, but I would just always shout at him when he would take pictures for any church events that we had. And now that I'm thinking about it, that is when I first became inspired to become a photographer. And that was really me at a young age, too. That was probably maybe when I was 7, not even 8 yet, but yeah.
Gotcha. And I was calculating in my head our ages. Yeah. And I feel like I was like 26 when you were like 10. So it's okay. And I don't think they did have film cameras, but That's neither here nor there. So yeah, it was a digital camera. But anyway, so when you came to college, you knew that you wanted to be a photographer.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So why didn't you do like art? Why did you do mass communications as opposed to art?
So, I mean, I feel like with art, I think that I wasn't seeing myself as a creative yet. Now that I think about it, I do wish that I had at least minored in art, but I didn't consider myself a creative until maybe like a year or two ago. I would just consider myself a photographer, and I feel like there is a difference between an artist and a photographer. But yeah, I didn't think that I could do something. You know, there's of course these stigmas or notions about majoring in art that you won't be able to get a job, blah blah blah. So I felt like mass comm was better for me, also because of my personality. I'm not a very reserved type of person, so when I would think about the type of classes that I would be in, mass comm just stuck out more to me because, you know, production, editing, directing, that's who I am.
Gotcha. So what's the difference between, you said, an artist and a creative?
An artist and a photographer.
I mean, a photographer and a creative, or a photographer and an artist.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So I would say just a photographer is someone who just goes out and shoots with no true vision or purpose. An artist has a vision for everything that they do. You know, somebody who envisions what they want to shoot before they actually shoot it. I don't know. I feel like an artist pays more attention to details too when it comes to colors, the composition of a photo, and when their photos have meaning. You know, some people really just literally go out to an event and just shoot, but there's no true meaning to their work.
I gotcha. Yes. So I know that you said that a part of your journey in terms of becoming a full-blown artpreneur was that you were taking grad photos for people. Was that the very first thing that you were doing for money when it came to photography, or were you doing something prior to that?
No, that was actually the first time I started really getting paid for to do photography. I honestly didn't even know how to price myself. I was charging them $50 for an hour. Of course, I do way more than that now. But I actually give, even though I don't do grad shoots now, I kind of give grad shoots the credit for who I am. It kind of made me who I am as a creative. That's when I challenged myself to shoot differently than other photographers. You know, I would try to shoot from different angles or use different types of equipment to get a certain shot or to get different lighting. Grad shoots is really where it all started for me as a creative period.
How did it start? It was like somebody was like, hey, can you do my grad photos? I give you $50. You was like, sure. How did it?
So with me being the intern for the university photographer, I was at every single event for WSSU taking pictures. So that's really how I became well known on campus, or as T-Drizzy. People just see me at every event taking pictures. And then I'm also an outgoing person, so I would be dancing and taking pictures at the same time. So I feel like my personality is really what made people gravitate towards me, and the fact that I was talented at what I did. So that's really how everything got started with that. People just already knew me, so they would just be like, hey, T-Drizzy, can you shoot my grad photos? And they would just book me.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What was the next step in the evolution of you as an artpreneur from the grad photos?
The next step was me gaining clientele off of WSSU's campus. So, and really that happened through mentorship. My mentors actually helped me with that because I knew that I didn't want to limit myself to just WSSU. You know, I wanted to go out into the community and shoot, and then eventually be able to travel and shoot. So that was my next step after grad shoots.
Have you done that?
Yes.
Well, tell us about it. What were some of your experiences?
Right. So I actually shot for a few celebrities, just to name a few. I'm going to name a couple: Chris Paul and DJ Luke Nasty. DJ Luke Nasty, I actually have a connection with him because of DJ Trails. He's actually an alum of WSSU, and he kind of put me onto that. And then with Chris Paul, my mentor, he put me on with him because Chris Paul has a nonprofit organization, and originally my mentor was shooting for them for whatever events they were having, but then he asked me to do it. Second, Chris Paul actually came on campus for the March to the Polls event. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he came to that and he saw me shooting his interview. So I ended up introducing myself, and he was like, hey, you should meet his media company, or the people who shoot for him. I met them, and then that same week I ended up shooting for another event that they had at A&T.
Nice. Nice. I think Chris Paul's from Winston.
Yes, he is.
Yes, okay.
He went to Wake.
Okay. Yeah, he did. Nice.
Thanks.
So with that, how did you get to like the weddings? Because that's like a big jump from like events and grad photos to shooting a wedding, because they make me nervous. I told you I shot a wedding before.
They are very, yes, I remember you telling me that story.
And I'll never do it again. It made me so nervous. I mean, I shot photography before. I'll do video because you know it's my thing. But you can have the photography, but go ahead.
I think it really just came with me promoting my work on social media. People just really like my work, so then they would ask me to do different things. So honestly, people will ask me to do a wedding, or they'll ask me to do another shoot, and even though I may not have done it before or I may not have experience in it, I'll do it anyway, because up until the shoot I'll just kind of prepare, I'll learn, I'll do my research. So people really just book me for weddings and stuff just by seeing my work. They like my style, and
And what's the difference between shooting like a wedding versus shooting an event or shooting a grad photo?
So weddings probably takes the most energy and work out of me, depending on how long the wedding is. Sometimes I'm shooting from the morning time to noon until evening, because people, you know, they have like a full-blown day of a wedding. So I'll shoot, let's say, I'll shoot them getting dressed, and then I'll shoot the ceremony, and then I'll shoot the reception. So that's probably at least, 8 hours of shooting. The post process is definitely different too, because I'm going through like thousands of photos.
I was just about to ask that, like, are you shooting a tremendous amount?
Yeah, so I try not to shoot, I try to just get the perfect shot and then move on to the next, because I don't really enjoy going through thousands of photos.
Right.
As far as grad photos, people mostly would book me maybe for an hour at most, honestly. So that wasn't too bad. So just go to campus. Once I started tapping into myself as a creative, I would do like a small vision board for grad shoots, just to kind of figure out what kind of feel I was going for if they didn't have one already. Just because I wanted my pictures to look different, as I always say. And yeah.
And I want to get back to your vision board, but I had one more question. So when it came to like the wedding, and I guess this could kind of go for events too. Do you know what you're looking for? Like, are you looking for particular moments? How are you thinking about the process of shooting? And, another thing that made me nervous when I was shooting was just focusing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And making sure the images are focused. If you like wait for the perfect shot, but you get it in post and then it's like slightly out of focus, or whatever case may be. So what's going through your head as you're doing that?
I just kind of anticipate what's going to happen next. Most of the time I'm right for weddings because they're kind of traditional. The same thing happens at almost every wedding. So I kind of already know what's going to happen. That's pretty much it for weddings. For events, to kind of get the feel of what I want, I'll kind of ask more details about whatever event it is. So whoever's booking me, I'll say, hey, like, what event is it? Do you have any particular shots or any particular people that you want me to get pictures of? And that's just kind of how that works. Even at events, I'll kind of look at the setup of the room. So say it's I don't know, like a conference or a convention, they might have different decorations up. So I get different pictures of the decorations, and then I'll kind of pay attention to who the notable people are in the room.
Nice. Okay. And so with the vision board, with the grad photos, I feel like we talked about this before, I think, but now you're trying to move into the place of doing like conceptualized photography. Is that the proper term?
Yeah.
It is? Okay. So talk to me about that. And why do you want to move from doing an event to doing more conceptualized photography?
Yeah. So I've actually been tapping more into conceptual projects the past few months. I realized that I really do have a passion for even so the other day I just did a shoot and I really enjoyed just designing the set. So it was really cool. I can't wait to post those, but but I really do enjoy the planning of the project, and I feel like you can only truly do that with conceptualized projects or passion projects, because there's more that you have to put into it as far as the vision. So when it comes to my projects now, I don't know. I'm a really colorful person. You know, I'm a very vibrant person. So I try to make my pictures reflect that. So I think that it's easier to tell a story and to let my brand be a reflection of me through conceptualized projects.
Nice. Nice. And I know that you have moved into the videography realm. How was that transition? Do you like videography more than photography, or was photography always like your first love and video is just like an extra little thing that you know how to do?
Yeah, I think photography will always be my first passion, my first love, and it'll always be there. When it comes to videography, I noticed that I enjoy the directing aspect of it way more than I do shooting it. So videography will always be here too, but if I'm doing it, if I'm a part of the project, I'll be directing it more than shooting it.
Why do you like directing more than shooting if you're a photographer?
Because I love to lead. Even as a photographer, you're leading. So I can honestly go on a shoot with the photographer and just be the creative director. Like, I enjoy that too.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. And I was going to say, so I know you talked about the process of you getting the camera throughout the years. What camera do you have now?
I have a Nikon D750.
Because you're a Nikon girl.
Baby.
It's okay. I'm a Canon, but I'm going to let it go. Well, why did you choose that camera? And why do you choose Nikon? I mean, because I think everybody honestly has like just whatever they originally got. Like, I like Nike. Some people like Adidas type of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, why you choose Nikon and why you choose the camera that you have now?
Yeah. So my first DSLR actually was a Canon. I worked with that for a little bit. But when I got my internship with the university photographer, everything that he used was Nikon. So I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of fell in love with Nikon after using Nikon every single day. And I got used to, I love the way that it looked. And I don't know, it's just something about that Nikon, like, oh, girl, I wish I had my Nikon right now. But I don't know, I really enjoy Nikon. The technicalities of it, some of it, they're so much better than Canon. So it's a much quieter camera than Canon. It has a faster shutter speed than Canon. It's just simple things like that. And it's even better in like low lighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I was just thinking about? Maybe, and I don't even know if this is true or not, but Nikon is designed for photography more than a Canon. Yeah. I know Canon has a lot of video stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Movies. Like, people use Canon for movies.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good point. But, you know, again,
it's all right.
It's okay.
Nikon is it.
Oh, okay. And so, and you have a bunch of lenses, right? Do you have like a whole kit?
I only use 2 lenses, or actually 3. So I use the 24-70 and the 50 for photos, and then for video I use the 35-millimeter when I can.
Why you only use those specifically?
The 24-70, that's my favorite zoom lens. I just feel like it's the perfect versatile lens. You can do video and portraits with it, but I just use it for photography because it's pretty heavy for video. The 50-millimeter, that's like a nifty 50. It just comes in handy when you just feel like moving around and not zooming in. I just really love that. And then the 35, it's like the perfect lens for video, and not the most cheap. That's not grammatically correct. It's the cheapest to me to use. It's pretty good.
35-millimeter is like standard for video or film. And you know, they say 50-millimeter is what's closest to the human eye. Yeah. So I mean, I felt that too. And it's a prime. Like the 50 is a prime,
I love
right?
prime lenses. Yeah,
I love prime lenses too. Depth of field is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yes. So you don't like 85? Like an 85?
You know, I haven't really tried the 85 yet, but I think my next lens I'll probably end up getting a 24, like prime.
Okay. Yeah, primes is the way to go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, so I lost my train of thought, daggone it. I really, really did. I remember. So, because you were talking about pricing, and you said in the beginning you didn't know how to price. I guess you just randomly came up with $50. How did you move? How did you develop a system for pricing?
So really just through mentorship and YouTube University. So I would just kind of base my prices off of what my bosses do, and then I would just literally YouTube how to price photography, videography, blah blah blah.
What did it say?
So it's like with me it's different because I have my LLC now, so it's like a whole budgeting, process. I have a photography plan, but it's just it's a lot to it.
But it is a lot to it.
And I guess you can base it off of your equipment too. So how much you're investing in your equipment, how much you're investing in any subscriptions. So like for your website, for a domain, you know, just extra stuff like that.
That's smart. That's smart. What would you tell people to start out with? Would you tell them to start with a 50 and work their way up?
I would say charge what you're worth. Honestly, $50, I was worth way more than that. I just was charging that low because I wanted as many clients as I could get. But as I kind of matured into this business, I realized that I don't want as many clients as I can get. I would rather charge what I'm worth and have less clients, especially when I have clients that are giving me projects that I actually want to do. You know, I don't want, and this kind of sounds bad to say, but I don't want that easy access, you know.
No, I like that. It's like what's the saying, quantity over quality.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity. That's what I meant. You know what I'm saying? Quality over quantity. That's what I meant.
Definitely.
Well, I would say though, because I think that for you, because you grew up doing photography and you wanted to do it, that when you started charging, you were a bit more advanced.
Yeah.
And compared to people who are just getting into it, I don't feel like they should charge a tremendous amount because you just get into it. You don't know what you're doing, technically.
Yeah, facts.
You know, and it's not like saying that you're not worth that. It's just, I feel like you have to build your name up.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to pay $250 for somebody they don't know.
Right. I'm not. Because I know I can call somebody and give it $50. Yeah, so I agree with that. Okay, so what is the future looking like for the business?
The future for my business. So I honestly feel like eventually I'll end up taking photography out of the business aspect because I really don't want it to turn into my job. The ultimate goal for me is to just turn my company into a media production company, primarily for Black creatives, because, you know, it's kind of hard for us to make it in the industry already. So why not create it for it to be easier for the people coming after me? So that's the ultimate goal. I want to be a media and entertainment executive and a film director.
Yes. You go, girl. Yes. Even though we did have a conversation about, because you do want to go to grad school, about whether or not you need grad school. You in particular need grad school, versus other people. So let's talk about that, because I understand and I value grad school, because for me, grad school made me who I am today. I feel like I needed grad school. But I wasn't you at your age. I was just living my best life in undergrad, and I was not focused. But you're focused. You already have your business. You already have the connections. You're already doing things that you need to do to run a successful business. Right. So why would you choose to go to grad school?
So I'm actually a nerd. I'm a lifelong learner. I really love to learn. And also, grad school is going to give me the opportunity to collaborate more with people who are kind of on the same level as me, if not higher, honestly. But I'm really looking forward to working with other Black creatives. I feel like even though I went to an HBCU for undergrad, I feel like I didn't get enough of that. I was always doing things independently. And even though the goal is to do like independent filmmaking, I do want to use my time, like during my young years, to work with people who look like me, people who are interested in the same things that I do. So, and I'm always in spaces, I'm always the teacher instead of a learner and a collaborator. I want to work with people who can teach me something for once.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand that. You're so advanced though. That's why you're always like the leader and the teacher.
Yeah, I guess.
It's okay. I'm related. Okay. All right. So, and possibly in the future, like 20 years from now, you'll be a teacher.
Yeah, I can
a
see
professor.
That. I can see that happening.
Which is a difference.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can see that too. Because you do like, even though you want to learn, you do like to teach.
I do.
Lead.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're 20 years in the future.
Yep.
And you're Professor Coleman now.
Okay. Doctor.
I'm sorry, Dr. Coleman. I'm sorry. So what's 5 practical steps people can do to begin their career as an artpreneur, specifically when it comes to photography and videography?
Okay, so I would say first find your passion. Make sure it's something that you're passionate about and something that you wouldn't mind profiting off of. I remember we were having a conversation and saying that sometimes you don't have to profit off of all of your passions. So just make sure it's something that you can balance passion and profit out of.
And before you go to number 2, because we also talk more exclusively about this particular place. How do you know the difference between it's your passion and it's your calling?
You can feel it. That literally, that's it. You can feel it. You can literally feel if something is your purpose or your calling in life. So I don't know. I feel like it really comes with, if so many opportunities are coming towards you with you doing whatever it is your passion is, then that just may be your purpose or your calling. But if it's not your calling, or if it's not your purpose, you know, you may get stagnant at some point, or opportunities may not come. I don't know. It's kind of different with different people. Yeah. But you can honestly, you'll be able to feel it. You'll know it in your heart.
You will know it in your heart, but that don't mean that you're not lying to yourself. Because people do that in the world.
Rappers.
Yes, they do that in particular. But I do agree in terms of you do feel it. I just would encourage people to trust your intuition. Yeah. You hear the universe telling you that it's safe for you. You hear it, you know, and you love it. I love music too, but God didn't call me to be a rapper. You know what I mean? So, okay.
And it might not even be, you know, you may love music. You don't have to be a rapper. You could do something like behind the sines with music. Like you could be a producer, or you could just be an assistant somewhere. You know, you don't have to always be the front and center talent.
Right. Totally agree with that. And I was going to say, I totally agree with too, like the doors opening up for you. That's always a sign that you're moving in the right direction within the universe. And I think sometimes too, sometimes it is challenging. You know what I mean? Like it may be a wall or something in your way. Yeah. But I just think as long as you got to, you know, try to break through. And if you can't break through, then maybe you're not supposed to go down that path. But for the most part, if you're meant to go down that path, you will be able to somehow break through.
It'll happen.
That wall.
Definitely.
So I agree with that.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So number 1 is find your passion and your calling. Let's connect
find
those
your
two
purpose.
Together.
Find
your purpose.
Yes.
Find your purpose. Yes. Okay. So what's number 2?
2, I would say find a mentor. I know some people, you know, they like to do things by themselves and say, oh, I built this by myself, blah, blah. But I think it's really important to find a mentor who's willing to take you up under their wing and who can be there for you personally and professionally. Also, you know, the word clout has a very negative connotation to it, but the way I see clout is as influence. Your mentor should have some type of influence on others or in the community. They should be able to open doors that you wouldn't be able to open without them. So find a mentor who's also doing what you want to do, you know, in the future. 3, I would say do your research. It's very important to keep learning and growing. You know, once you get to a certain point in the industry or whatever you're doing, you know, you think you're good or you don't have anywhere else to go, but there's always like levels to everything. I will also say bring people with you, pour back into your communities. You know, going back to that whole purpose thing, one thing I have an issue with is when people make it, you know, they get to, and it'd be like the people who have rags to riches stories, you know, they get to the riches, but they don't pour back into their communities. So I'll say, and that would probably be the last step. Pour into your community. Once you make it to where you want to make it, pour back into the people who supported you. You know, I see a lot of Black businesses that are here because of support from Black people, but they don't give back to those same people. That makes sense. Yeah. It does. And keep networking and connecting. Yes. That's the thing.
Yes. And you are like a natural networker to me. But some people aren't natural networkers. If people are more introverted, how would you encourage them to come out of that shell and network? Like, what are the keys to networking to you?
The keys to networking, I would say, to first come up with a pitch. Practice that pitch in the mirror. Practice it with your friends or family members, because it'll help you when you know. Okay, I'll use Chris Paul as an example. I had already written a pitch a couple months ago for class, but I had practiced that pitch because I knew I would need to use it. So when Chris Paul came on campus, I didn't know that I would have an opportunity with him. I had the intentions of just shooting him and then moving on to the next project. But we ended up talking. And I ended up working with him after that because I had my pitch ready. So have your pitch ready. And I will also say, be yourself. I can't really tell introverted people how to, you know, break out of that shell, but I think being yourself will really, and being your authentic self will really get you along further than anything else. Honestly, people have gravitated towards me more for my personality, and then later on they would find out about my talent. Yeah, those are kind of like the top two for me.
Okay, those are good. Those are good. I like those. I like those. Another thing I wanted you to talk about was mindset, because you talked about that a lot, and I think that you are a very strong-minded person in general. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that everybody has the ability to be strong-minded, but I do believe that some people are naturally born strong-minded and some people have to work more towards it. But mindset is the first step in anything that you choose to do in life. So talk about that for you. Like, where does your mindset come from, and this determination, this drive that you have? Because you very like driven. I mean, I know you know that, but you're very driven. You know what I'm saying? But that is definitely like a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're trying to be quote unquote successful in this society. And I think a lot of times people are getting in their own way from their own thoughts and their own mind. You know what I mean? So talk to us about that.
So my strong mindset really just comes from me being the first person in my immediate family to go to college, and knowing that the pressure is kind of on me to break those generational curses and to bring generational wealth, because I want that for myself and I want that for my family. So that's what mainly keeps me driven. Also knowing that I don't know what it is, but I know I have a purpose in life for the people, for the Black creatives that come after me, knowing that eventually I will have something to do with, you know, the diversity in media or filmmaking increasing. You know, like I want better for my people. I want better for my family and my community. It's everything that I do is way bigger than me, honestly. And I also enjoy setting an example for other people. You know, I enjoy being an inspiration to others and being able to mentor others. So I just kind of have to keep a strong mindset if I want to be a great inspiration or a great mentor.
I think it was very key what you said, that it is bigger than you. I mean, it's bigger than all of us, you know, and your purpose on earth is connected to other people's purposes on earth. So if you fall short, then other people are being affected by your actions. So I feel like that's very humbling for you to say that.
Very humbling.
Yes. And that's you have to be humble. You know, because some people are like too, you know, not cocky. What's the other word? Arrogant. That's what I was thinking, arrogant. Which I think you have to have a certain degree of arrogance to be successful, because you have to believe in yourself. Like,
depending on what room
room you're in. But sometimes people just take it overboard. With the arrogance, you know
There's
what I
no
mean?
balance.
There's no balance. There's no balance. So what do you do on bad days? I know we're happy today, but we all have bad days.
So I had to learn how to deal and manage with bad days, because there was a point in time where I would allow my bad days to affect my work ethic. So when I realized, and really that came through mentorship. So remember that one time in class, when we had that conversation, even with my mentor now, he would tell me like, hey, T, I know something's wrong, but kind of work on your disposition because we're working right now. So just with those lessons being learned, I just kind of tried to figure out different ways to cope and different ways to express my feelings, which is through journaling, listening to music, and just finding different things that'll keep me calm and to regain my focus.
I got you. And at least keep you good to get through whatever you're in the middle of, so you can get home, but then you can like explode. At least for me. Yes, that's great. I feel very inspired by this conversation. And I feel like you're like the leader of the new school. That's how I look at you. Like, you know, and you're doing your thing. And I think it's important. And I think you are a great example of, for one, how to take advantage of the opportunities that you were presented, particularly in undergrad. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that a lot of times, a lot of kids are first generation college students. You know, I was a first generation college student, but I, again, didn't have the mindset. I didn't know what.
I heard.
I just live my best life. Anyway, the point is, I think that, you know, college is about networking. It is about taking advantage of opportunities. And I think for you to come into the game of college, automatically, you know, starting to be a photographer for school and just being so outspoken and just out there and driven and trying to, you know, make things happen. I think that's inspiring. I think a lot of young people need to aspire to be that way.
Yeah.
Particularly when they're in undergrad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to tell you that. I want to give you your flowers and tell you that now.
I really
Yes. You're so silly. Okay. So we already talked about your course. We talked about a lot of things today. What's the homework for tonight? The prereq for them to get prepared to find their purpose and find a mentor and do all the things they need to do. What's the homework tonight?
So I would say, of course, going back to finding your passion. And even though some people might have a hard time finding their passion, I would say if you're having a hard time with that, kind of pay attention to what's going around you. Pay attention to what you actually enjoy doing. You know, you can make a career really out of anything. If you enjoy going to events, if you enjoy planning events, you know, you can be an event coordinator. Honestly, I feel like after you find your passion, everything else just kind of aligns. You know, when you start taking advantage of the opportunities, like you said, everything else aligns. And just being committed and being persistent. You know, as creatives, it's really easy for obstacles to come our way and we just kind of shut down, but just kind of, you know, keep pushing, you know, keep going, because there's something there for you at the end of the road.
Consistency is key.
Yes, it is.
Consistency is key. Okay, one last thing I just thought about.
Yes.
Social media, because I know social media is a big thing for you in terms of like marketing.
Yeah.
How do you utilize it? Social media to promote yourself?
Honestly, so I just created an Instagram, an Instagram and a Facebook for my business page. So it was really easy for me to gain followers for my business pages because people already knew me. I was already very present on social media before I had my business. So you really have to be, if people already don't know you, you have to be consistent with posting on social media. You have to be consistent with your work. You know, it always has to be quality. Try to post your best work. Don't just post any and everything. You know, if you need an aesthetic for your Instagram, come up with an aesthetic to kind of get people to like what they see. You know, find your style. Yeah.
Do you post every day?
No, not on my business page. I don't. Actually, and I used to post like very often, but this year, 2020, everything was kind of like, this was a really bad year, but I just used the opportunity to tap into myself more as a creative and figure out what I truly enjoy doing instead of just shooting any and everything. Yeah. And that's why I kind of narrowed everything down to just like portraiture, lifestyle, and brand management, because I really do enjoy doing those three things. Yeah. So, I mean, next year I'll be way more consistent, but this year I felt like it was really important for me to just take a step back and to keep learning and growing. And then once I come back, you know, bigger and better than ever.
Yeah. I think that's also key. What you said, sometimes it is good to just take a moment. Yeah. To get yourself together or like regroup, rethink, re-strategize, and then move forward as opposed to continue to move forward and you like a runaway train. You know what I mean? I
actually rebranded this year because my name hasn't always been Drizzy Visuals. It was Bright Eye Photography, but I felt like, so Bright Eye, that's actually my nickname from my family. But I felt like with Bright Eye Photography, it wasn't the way that I was promoting myself. It wasn't reflecting who I am as a person. So I just kind of took Bright Eye out, you know, keep that to myself because that's my name. That's kind of sacred for me. So then I use Drizzy Visuals for marketing purposes. You know, people know me as TeDrennas. So whenever they would refer to my brand, they would say, "Oh, TeDrenna's photography brand," whatever. They would never say Bright Eye Photography. But now that I've transitioned into Drizzy Visuals, people actually use that name and they really enjoy it. So yeah, and I enjoy it, honestly.
That's smart because everybody does call you TeDrennas, so they do automatically associate that. That's smart. Yeah. All right. Any like last minute advice to tell about being an artprenuer and being good at being an artprenuer? Because you know you're good at being an artprenuer. And an artprenuer is an artist who makes money. Yeah. And you do that. Yeah. Yes. So going back to those words I've always been saying, have a vision for your brand, have a purpose for everything, and always follow your passion. And surround yourself with people who support that and who you can relate to. Sometimes it's kind of hard to talk about business or talk about creativity with people who know absolutely nothing about it. So meet new people, follow
if you're on social media all the time, follow people who are doing what you're doing so you can stay inspired, because it's hard being in a creative block. But when you get on social media and you see people who are doing what you desire to do, it's easy to get back into the game. So, yeah.
I dig that. I did that. So tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
All right. So I have Instagram and Twitter at @TDrizzy_. If you want to follow my business page, it's drizzy.viz, drizzy.viz, Drizzy Visuals.
Wow.
Drizzy Visuals on Facebook.
And you had a little song and a little bop.
You already know visions do come true. That's my tagline.
Is that your tagline?
That's my tagline.
I like that. That's clever. I like that. Okay, well, I have a gift for you.
Oh, I love gifts. I love surprises.
So
it's red.
a shirt. It is red.
It's my color. Ow.
Ow. You are. Hit myself. You are an official artprenuer. See, certified.
Ooh, certified, baby.
Certified. So there you go.
Thank you.
I appreciate you for coming on the show. I really do.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, you're the bomb.com.
You're the bomb. You're my
Yes.
inspiration.
Oh, you inspired me too, my friend. Yes. Yeah, and I know there's gonna be great things in your future. I'm looking forward to it. Don't forget about me when you make it to the
you
top.
might make it before me, so don't forget about me.
I don't know. Maybe we'll make it together.
Oh, you're right. Just take me with you.
Right. Well, let me go ahead and close out the show. So thank you all for watching another episode. Again, I'm Trisha Shula. You can follow me on social media, Instagram and Facebook in particular. TeDrenna judges me. Anyway, it's my name, Trisha Shula. And we'll catch y'all next week.